I've been getting asked quite a bit to do this kind of video, but I do have to say I don't have the most amazing bunch of guns, but we'll do this anyway. Welcome to the USAirsoft Gun Collection 2015 edition. Now when it comes to how I store my airsoft gear, I don't have dozens of racks or hiding places for them, which leaves me with this. It's a mess. For the time being, it takes up a lot of space that I could be using for other things, but I try to make do. However, it does give a bit of a backdrop for videos that are done in here. And for longtime subscribers, you could probably pick out some of these rifles and guns from older videos that we've done, but we'll get into that in a bit. Something I would recommend for those with a lot of gear and parts is to get one of these tubs. They're pretty cheap and you can throw a lot into them. I happened to find this one as a neighbor was throwing it out. Generally, I just throw whatever I normally don't use inside here, like all these magazines. I end up with a lot of them, so why not just throw them in here? At least it gets some of the stuff off the table. Just above that would be the many different patches I managed to get at all sorts of different events I go to and from working with different groups. Also I have some random doodads, including my lava lamps, which I tend to turn on while I'm editing these videos. Moving on to the actual collection portion of this video, I'll be showing you all my personal pieces that I own, but keep in mind that the guns that you've seen in the reviews that I've gone over before do not belong to me, and neither do most of the guns in the gameplay videos that you've seen. Most of you guys should know this already, but sometimes I get asked anyway. Also, I'll have links to all the guns that you see in this video in the description below, and my top 3 favorite collection videos. But let's get into the pistols, which I'll start off with this. This would be the WE M9 Cutlass. This was my first M9 and I literally got it just for the $100 price tag and because it looked awesome on Airsoft GI. This was so long ago that you can't even find it really on Airsoft GI. I like this pistol because of the longer barrel it sports, which really does help with its range, but does pump up the FPS to 420. I really liked using this pistol, and whenever I went up against any player that wasn't really calling his hits on the field, I'd let him really feel a 32 with this. I still use this from time to time, however I don't play as aggressive with it anymore, despite the amount of magazines I have for it. Next up is a more normal M9, however this was a bit of a bad impulse buy while at the San Japan Anime Con here in San Antonio 2 years ago. At the con you can buy many different things, including some really bad guns. This is where I managed to buy this HFC Full Auto M9 for $160. This worked for about a month before the trigger assembly broke, leaving me with a paperweight. Even the magazine has become a maraca, but it still works. This gun has always been a reminder to me to look up reviews on the guns you're interested in buying before you do gamble with your money, and whenever I see the same vendor at the con each year, I don't even walk up and look at any of the stuff he has to offer. Next up is my only grenade launcher, which I ordered through eVic for $210. Simply by impulse due to a movie I watched called Punisher Warzone. Near the end of the movie, Frank Castle, played by Ray Stevenson, seemingly mows down dozens of thugs with the modded M4 which bears an AGX grenade launcher. Immediately hooked on this grenade launcher, I quickly jumped onto the net after the movie just being paid that day before and bought this launcher. The launcher itself is great, it's built tough and has a good weight to it, but I don't use it normally anymore. I do have one shell for it, but the Eagle Force shell no longer holds gas. Soon I'll possibly have a normal M4 again so I can add this to it, but for now it's just another uncommon thing to own around where I live. Something a bit more common in my collection is this prize gun. This 6-inch ASG Dan Wesson was the second place prize for making an intro for the Guerrilla Airsoft channel. My father made this intro as one of his last projects before passing of lung cancer, so this revolver has been one of my most memory-filled pieces in my collection. It gets a lot of attention when it's seen on the field, but I never play with it as it shoots way too hot. However, this gun sits on my desk to make me smile and to motivate me to keep going and to make more videos, as he would want me to do so. Now we have my 1911s, this of which is my first airsoft pistol. This WE 1911 really shows its age as it's kind of missing some paint and some pieces of its body. This one no longer fires properly, however I never really found it to fire very well anyway. It's a pretty bad gas hog. I soon should be getting a good replacement for a good sidearm, and I'm kind of thinking of a VFC FNX45, but what do you guys think? And now for the last of my pistols, which was a present from Mission Airsoft, my home field, for Christmas for all the gameplay I released for all of you guys. This WE is by far my most visually appealing piece. I don't even need to play with this thing, people just get nosy sometimes and just see the grips and ask about it. I didn't even know myself where to get it, until one of you guys sent me a link months ago to it on eVic, which the link will be in the description. Keep in mind however that the Punisher compensator is separate. Thanks to Mission, I have one heck of a showpiece to end the pistol segment of this video. So with that said, let's grab the rifles and throw them up on top of the table so we can go over them. I own 6 rifles currently, and each one has a little bit of a backstory to tell. So without any more rambling, let's put the first and smallest of the rifles on the table, my Sima Galil Sar. Don't you worry though, we'll get into the other rifles in a bit. Now right off the bat, you'll notice that this thing is pretty beat up with dings and scratches, although I got this Galil for a trade for one tan VFC hard case, which retailed for $50 on Airsoft Station. Brand new, this Galil runs for around $170, however, this is far from brand new. If I could fix the charging handle, at least I would have one of the many things keeping this gun off the field fixed. Finding magazines for this thing is also not easy, and you'd think that other Galil magazines would fit this thing, but no, that would be way too much to ask for. Good old Airsoft compatibility has kept me from even thinking about fixing this rifle, but then again I don't even own Dean's batteries, so I don't even know if the gearbox works. At least I have a wobbly wall hanger now. But then again, I did get it for a hard case. On the other side of the spectrum, we have a rifle that's built like a tank on the outside. This would be my G M14 Ebr long version, which sells new for around $500. And for the exterior quality and accuracy this thing can dish out, I can totally believe and understand why that's that much. But why make a rifle so awesome on the outside but not make the internals as strong? I've already had to replace the motor on this rifle, and it doesn't fire at all anymore because the trigger pull is not long enough to activate the contacts. How does that even change over time? It's sad because this thing was so awesome when I got it from my friend a few months ago when he decided to sell all his AGs to go Polarstar only. But then right as I was enjoying it myself, it ended. Good thing I have plans to send it upstate to Airsoft GI's Plano store so I can get it repaired. It's actually really fun to play with this thing, and I would really like to get back on the field with it. What I would say though, if you're looking into this rifle for yourself, is that this rifle is not light by any means. It's actually about 12 pounds due to its fully metal body, and that you'll probably lose the screws for the foregrip if you're not careful, as you need to take them out every time to take out and put in a battery. But when there's one M14 in my collection, there must be two, and of course, they must be of the same brand. This lovely old school rifle is also a G&G, but this would be a Top Tech veteran with a maple stock. This rifle, although a little bit longer than the EBR, is so much more funner to play with. But guess what? It has the same problems as the EBR. This is another good looker that can only act as a good looker. But here's why I have them. In total, this rifle and the EBR would have come out to about $950 retail, but I got both of the rifles, 2 large type batteries, 4 magazines, and 2 scope mounts for $250. That's well over $1,000 in equipment for less than a quarter of the retail value. But I guess that deal had to go sour somewhere. I gotta get these rifles repaired. How can you have 2 amazingly awesome guns in your collection and not be able to play with them? It kills me a little bit inside every day just to see them laying there. But we're not done yet. How about an AK straight out of my Call of Duty Black Ops days? This is my Sema Ak74 that has just recently blown its fuse. In total, I spent about $220 on this rifle, which includes a Mad Bull suppressor and the Mag brand RPK mid-caps, but you can get the base gun for about $170. I wouldn't discourage you from looking at this rifle if you're looking for a good AK, but once the fuse blows, you better tear out those wires and resolder them. Or better yet, just do that immediately so you don't get stuck with a useless gun like me. Also, I'll be reviewing this AK soon, so if you're interested in that, then just subscribe if you haven't already. Or you can just request me to review a gun that I already own that you may have seen or will see in this video. But let's keep going with the gun you may remember from a certain lucky unboxing. But real quick, does anyone remember my first mystery box?
Connection, paper, and it's the M27.
I mean, who the f would have known that this kid would grow to be this sexual Tyrannosaurus? And to think some people want me to go back to being the way I was? For just $150, I managed to pull this Polarstar Vfc M27 that valued near $1,400 out to make me smile for the entire week and to make a lot of people mad on the internet. Anyways, this M27 is supposedly equipped with a miracle barrel and a flat hop system inside of its Prometheus hop-up housing. Although there's a big problem. About last year, after a big game at a field upstate that I have never been to, I found that my regulator and hose were missing, as well as a few other things of my other team members. Oddly, the regulator was on my tank, but the tank was still there. That means they had to remove the regulator before swiping it. That doesn't seem to make much sense. I've already ordered a new setup, so that should be heading my way very soon. Which also means I'll be getting more hate for running HPA once again on the field. But there's still one gun that never gets any hate. The rifle that has been named for a while as the End. It's also the only rifle I can play with normally. So if that goes, then it just might be the end for me. This rifle even had its original magazine autographed by Markiplier, Wade, and Bob. This is my ICS Galil AR. Now everyone who knows me should know about this rifle, as it's been my favorite way before people started to find it on any Call of Duty titles. The Galil has become my trademark rifle, it seems, and I've used it so much that I find every other gun clumsy. For $360 when I picked this off at Airsoft GI, I was so stoked to have it in my room, and I still am. I get to play with my favorite rifle, and it doesn't stop doing work on the field. I only shoot at 270 feet per second, however you don't need a high FPS gun to touch people at 250 feet easily. I can't say it's perfect though. I've had to replace the handguard pin with some tape and a Thunderbeat pin, and I stuffed some foam inside the handguard to stop a really annoying wobbling sound. But despite its problems, I still use it every time I can get onto the field, and I'm looking into buying even more Galils. And hey, maybe I'll Polarstar one day. Well, it looks like that's it for my small collection, but I hope you enjoyed this video as I really tried to make this one a bit different from all the rest. But it looks like I really need to clean up my room / the USAirsoft Studio 45. So if you'd like to, go ahead and leave a comment down below, or spank that like button until it hits 100. But like always, I'll be sure to see you all when the next video drops. But until then, I'll see you all next time.